Andrea, it's so lovely to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's my honor to be here, and thank you for this opportunity.
Andrea, I'd really love to learn a little bit more about your work. So would you first start by introducing yourself and just describe the work that you do?
Yes, it's a pleasure. I'm an orgasm coach, trauma, transgenerational, and abuse healing specialist, and also helping women to let go, to heal the pain, the shame, what we are carrying for centuries, for generations, and open up and embodying this beautiful temple and also our beautiful femininity and also the harmony inside of us and creating more pleasure in our everyday life.
Wonderful. Oh, welcome. We love you. We love you at Women Thrive, and we love the work that you do. So I'd really love to ask, my first question is about women and pleasure. Why is it that women don't feel that pleasure is important? You know, it's not important. It's not significant to me. So why did they decide that and really decide to stay disconnected from their pleasure and feminine power?
Yeah, when we are hearing pleasure, first we connecting something sexual. And this is what it was so suppressed for centuries. So we are connected somehow what is shameful, what is painful, what is not for us, for man, not for us, and something dangerous or maybe dirty. And therefore, we don't want to tap into that because it's more safe to be here and not connected with that. And I'm also rephrasing this. And I just recently launched my new podcast, 50 Sacred Pleasure Secrets, because I really want to dispel the myths around pleasure. And for me, a kind of like a very simple definition for pleasure, what makes you smile? It doesn't matter. And it doesn't need to have any sexual connection. And I think it's really, really important recently because we women are kind of like doing and giving and focusing on others. And what we learned that we need to serve others. We need to take care of others. We started to forget about ourselves. We started to disconnect. This is what we are, disconnected who we really are. What are basic needs? We don't care about, whether we need some sleeping needs. We cannot sleep really well. We are so much in hustle and rush and doing, and we forget what is the best food for me, how I can nurture myself. And this is my mission, and I feel this is a big mission because all of us needs to rephrase, need to shift inside of us first and put ourselves as a priority. And I would like to just share a little story about how my journey started about disconnection and shame. Just imagine a little girl who was around 3 or 4, playing around, enjoying the moment, and suddenly she's hearing, "You are a bitch!" And I was like, I didn't know what's there. I didn't know the word, but I was shocked. I was frozen. And what was in my mind that I don't want that person. I don't know what does it mean, but I don't want to go there. I felt like this. I was frozen. I had no voice. And I heard several times, this is from my father, and he was telling to my mother. And he was even said that every woman is a bitch. With the tone of the voice, with this shouting, from this anger. And I was scared. I was a little girl, and I didn't know the meaning of this word. And therefore, I didn't want to be there, that somebody or something I wanted to be always a good girl. And I can literally did everything for my father's love, for my father's appreciation. So he used this opportunity all the time and used all kinds of abuse on me. And I was silently just suffered and allowed because I didn't know whether something else could be available for me. By the time I was silenced, I was closed, and also still in this shocking moment when first time I heard that word. And I did everything and harder and harder and harder to be a good girl. And I never could be that good girl I wanted to be, or I imagined that could be. I had no compliments, always just judgments and punishment. So I learned to defend myself in a way to be a silent good girl who is doing everything for everyone. Besides of studying and working, all the household chores instead of my mom, because she was working also hard. This was my pattern, and that's why I'm also working so much on the generational transmission, because this is what we need to break, and this is the right time to, and then we have so many tools to do that. And so that's why it's really important to cut this cord in a way that shame shouldn't determine us, and pain and any kind of judgments. And we need to connect with this pleasureful, beautiful body, what we are in. It doesn't matter what kind of form or shape or skin we have, but this is so magical and beautiful.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I know that was the first time that you'd shared that story publicly, and I just wanted to honour that. And I'm sure that there's so many women that will be watching this that will really be able to resonate with your story. You talked there about shame. That's a word that you're using quite a lot. How does that, it almost like secretly, like unconsciously, how does that shape the way that some women show up in relationships or work or even intimacy?
Yeah, shame is like a really, really invisible and kind of like snaky thing. And maybe I can say that it's a kind of like toxic things which is under our skin, in our bones. And it cannot be recognized so easily because we started to become that kind of personality, what we believed we were as a little girl. So I believed in my father's word that something is not okay, something is dangerous, something is dirty, something is what I really don't want to, but I couldn't touch it. What does it mean? And it was so invisible, and therefore it's really hard to recognize it, but it's in us. And I haven't met any woman who couldn't know or couldn't meet with the shame or couldn't know about how being shameful is it.
I just wanted to dig a little deeper with that. So for your clients, for example, Andrea, how would that then show up in their lives? Like what impact would that be having on their lives, on their well-being?
Yeah. Sometimes it takes years or decades coming into our physical body in a form of any female organ problems or any thyroid or hormonal disbalancing. It's like unbalancing. So this is, I think that women over 30, most of the time we are meeting that imbalancing of our hormones, or maybe thyroid problems, or maybe jaw problems, teeth problems. skin problems. So somehow, because this is in our body, then we are looking for physical and kind of like tapping somehow, or just covering somehow, but it's deeper underneath of our physical surface. And it can be also in our relationships, when I feel dishonored, or I feel that I don't deserve things. I feel that I am not enough good, or even too much. And also the shame is sometimes it's just whispering all of this. And you know that you cannot recognize, but all the time, even someone is telling you, or after a while, you start to repeat yourself for yourself, and this is called self-abuse, when we are just judging ourselves, when we are criticizing ourselves. And when I'm looking at the mirror, and first I'm just seeing the mistakes or the problems, and not who I really am. That beautiful, radiant, and talented, unique, special being who I am. And sometimes there is like a giant who has a big voice and noisy and telling you that you are not good, you are not successful, you cannot do this, you don't deserve this. So it can be so many different ways. That's why it's hard to recognize first instance.
I wanted to ask you, you talk about pleasure, receiving pleasure. If someone has never felt that, how do they know what they're missing? Like how do they even know that? Like, what would you say to someone who's kind of feeling like that?
Until you don't know, you haven't experienced, you haven't felt that, you don't know what you are missing. And how about if I'm telling you that something, you are going to a new country, like we are now in Valencia, or you are just traveling another city, or you are going to a new restaurant, and there is something specialty on the menu, and first you are choosing something, maybe the taste, and you are scared to choose and try something special, something new, or even just that if you are just tasting the honey, or there is a honey in front of you, and because this is also connecting with pleasure, and you said, no, I don't like it. And I'm asking, have you tasted yet? No. Why? Because I don't know, and I'm not sure that I would like it. So until you are not tasting, you don't know whether you could like it or not. Or for example, I tasted so many different kind of honeys as I was traveling around the world. And all the time I'm coming back to the acacia honey, because as I learned that this is the queen of the honeys. And what else, right? The best. And so before we are not tasting, we don't know what we are missing. And if we are playing in our safety, what we learn that this is my safety, as a little girl, I could stay there, I couldn't be here at all. I couldn't speak on a camera, and I had to also learn how I can be more confident, because even in my teenage years, I experienced so many shameful situations when I was question my knowledge. I was question whether the production was mine, or whether I made something surprise, and nobody believed me that I did it. So these kind of situations could let me also that, okay, even I won't try it next time, because I was judged, I was adopted, I was even punished about that. So somehow disadvantages came when I tried something new. So, but somehow inside of me, there was a little voice, and most of the time, our heart, our soul, sometimes it's in the breaks. Sometimes it's in the silence. And when we can stop for a moment then we can hear. And then also now the energy field is just opening. Because we are in a modern society doing. We are really kick. And I'm also really passionate most of the time. But I learned that slowing down, coming into stillness, and being here, present in my body, could be also safe, and listen more what I need to do, what I need to share, what are my needs. And I think this is what we are scared to stop and slowing down, because the shame, the guilt, the pain, the traumas, what are all the expectations, the roles we need to fulfill, is taking our focus from the most important thing, from the most important being who we are. This is one of the most important moments when we can stop and looking back for a moment and coming here in this present moment.
Why do you think, Andrea, that so many women are disconnected from their bodies? You spoke about shame earlier, but what are the reasons, do you believe? What's your point of view on that?
I think this is all what I just shared, that we lost this power, what is inside of us, because we believed that we are powerless. And we are also scared that kind of power we are carrying, what is inside of us, that sensuality, that softness, that gentleness. And not, I mean, power, not the, the muscle, that the bodybuilder, but the power which is in the silence, which is in the present moment. And if you are just thinking about that, how much energy and time you were wasting off surviving, fulfilling others' expectations, to be a good girl, in any ways, to be enough good, or to be less because you felt you were too much. You spent so much time and energy and power from yourself, and you give away unconsciously. And all of these blueprints are in our body, and our body remembers everything. And the bad news that when we are doing the work, then we are uncovering all of this. But the good news is that as our bodies are remembering, then we can also remember that powerful, radiant, beautiful, perfect being who we were when we were born. And connecting that kind of safety, and maybe we haven't experienced that kind of safety, never, what feels that without shame or with less shame, to connect this beautiful body, our heart, which is beating every single moment, our organs are harmonizing and dancing together. It's really, really important to find a way to reconnect to our body in a different way.
Andrea, I just wanted to ask you about the specific work that you do. So what is it that sets you apart, do you feel, from others in your field? Like, why would women want to come and work with you? Can you talk a little bit about your experiences with that and what sets you apart?
Shame and abuse and all of what I experienced during my whole childhood until I was 30. And I was putting everyone in front of myself, and I absolutely ignored my basic needs and who I was. I was absolutely a ghost in my life. And when I was 30, I made a decision. I couldn't live this life anymore like this. And there's something more needs to be there, because I could see others. And I felt that it's unreachable for me. But there I made a decision and I started to look for the solutions. And bits and pieces I found all around the world when I was traveling. And then I tried everything what I could. And I spent so much time, energy, and money to really find a way. And somehow I couldn't find in one system. And I've created my holistic approach, which is combining more hundreds of different methods. And I'm using all of this particularly and customized to and uniquely for you, for my clients. Who, if someone is just in there, so much in their head, someone is just cannot speak so clearly, or they are scared even from touch, we find a way how we can open up, how we can feel safe, how you can feel safe in your body, and also coming back to your true power and creating more pleasure in your life, which is our birthright. And this is really, really important to create that power, that energy, that vitality, that confidence, that we are feeling unstoppable and unapologetic to really be here, connect with ourselves, connect with the world, and sharing that unique gifts and talents, what is covered and was in the shadow because of the shame, the guilt, the pain, and everything what we are carrying. And until we are not seeing who we really are and coming closer to and seeing that brightness, that powerful being we are, then we don't know what kind of heaviness we are carrying from our ancestors. And this is my mission, to help more and more women all around the world. And I had this honor that thousands of women all around the world I could work with in the last 21 years. And I'm ready to really show this to the world, that we are more than we think we were.
Andrea, it's been wonderful to share this time with you. Where will people find you? What's the best place to find you?
Yeah, you can find me all social media at Girisha Andrea on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.